Hello everyone, we are live, and of course I have an image up right now, so let me verify that I'm live here. Thank you all for joining for another night of Aeon's End Legacy. I'm Petter, and yeah, like I said, we're on to game 2 of Aeon's End Legacy. And, well, I left most of the Legacy stuff out to unpack still, but I have set up a little bit. Just because, well, I wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing. We'll see how much that is the case. So tonight's drink is an old-fashioned. Very simple, straightforward drink. Whiskey, simple syrup, and bitters. In my opinion, if anybody adds more to it than that, it's no longer an old-fashioned. Old-fashioned is going to be that simple and just be those ingredients. In my case, I went with grapefruit bitters. I'm not like a purist that says it has to be either Angostura bitters or orange bitters, but yeah, I do like it. Big fan of this. I'm a big fan of the grapefruit bitters. Let's get down to the table. Let's fix one thing here. You can see there's a bunch of shadows. Forgot to hit the other light. So, a refresher as to what has happened in Aeon's End Legacy. We faced off against the Maelstrom, and even though we're new breach mages, we were able to help push it back. It had a mechanic basically where it pulled out assist cards, and those assist cards then gave us a lot of the damage that we needed to kill off the creature. I think it gave us about 60, maybe 70 of the 99 damage that we needed to deal. And now we're back again for Chapter 2. Zaxos has left us, and let's read what's going on here. Armed with more powerful spells and gems, you reflect on Brahma's warnings. We must not grow attached to the breaches or the power they give us. They can corrupt. Forgetting is an art, one that all breach mages must master. You joined the teams scouting the tunnels for survivors. Mist and Brahma help where they can, but the pair are still recovering from the battle. Your heart elevates with the rescue of each wounded survivor as you dig through what was once your home and discover new tunnels that have been lost a long time ago. Those recovered join your new community, grateful for your assistance. This is Gravehold now, the stalwart survivors under your care. You are deep in the tunnels when the ambush is sprung. Growls echo in the dark around you. What is it? A young survivor beside you asks, clutching a jagged stone as a weapon. Wasn't Maelstrom destroyed? You usher the survivors behind you, putting yourselves between them and the oncoming monstrosities. Bladius emerges from the dark, a hulking beast with thick armor and sharp edges. Minions of Maelstrom have regrouped under the leadership of Maelstrom's deadly lieutenant. Bladius snarls its challenge. You hardly have time to react before it lunges for your group. Open the playmat. This was the playmat. Name number 2, and set Bladius into the play area. open deck 2. I'm saving some of these legacy elements for on stream. There we have Bladius's cards. Told me to stop here at the middle. Of course, I flipped it over, so I know it's there. And then it told me to open Insights 2A and 2B until and put them in the rule book. Or let's see what it says. Apply all rule stickers to rulebook. Evolve stickers. And evolve. So, let's see, where would evolve go? Unlocks at the beginning of chapter 2. So let's go through evolve together. When a Nemesis card triggers the Evolve keyword, place an Evolve sticker on one of the available sticker spaces on that card. If there are no available sticker spaces, the card transforms into a new card from the Evolve deck. Find the narrative card in the Evolve deck, read the story, and follow the instructions. Power and attack cards. Place the transformed card from the Evolve deck into the Nemesis discard pile. Minion cards. Place the transformed card into play with the same number and type of tokens as the minion had prior to transforming. Evolve only appears on the basic Nemesis cards. The same set of basic Nemesis cards will be used in all of the Nemesis decks for the rest of the campaign. When these cards transform, they become more difficult. You will want to prevent Nemesis basic cards from evolving whenever possible. Evolve deck. The Evolve deck contains all the transformed versions of the basic Nemesis cards as well as the narrative cards that help explain the transformation from one form of the card to the next. The Evolve deck is in a specific order for ease of reference. Only look at the cards you are instructed to so the story and effects of the Evolve are not spoiled. The Evolve deck should be stored in the game box when it is not in use. So that's a fun new mechanic. And let's see. Open deck E. This is the Evolve deck. Don't open until you're told to do so. Well, we're just told to. See if I can get into this. Where's my weapon? Be right back. I need a knife. I do appreciate that they try and give you something to pull it open with, but if it just hits a seam wrong, it can, well, not work. So we're just going to leave that up here. for, well, when we need an evolve. Hopefully we won't need one this time. And these are the evolve stickers that we'll use as cards evolve. So that is where the legacy events take us through. Set that off to the side. Shuffle up. And let's get started. And let's look at Bladius here quick so you understand what he does, and so I do too. Bladius, 40 health. If Bladius would draw a card and cannot, it escapes and the players lose. So we have to kill Bladius. And we have the deck that is basically the countdown. We have 30 health on Gravehold, not sure if we need that. 40 health on Bladius, and his Unleash is the player with the fewest open breaches. They take 2 damage. And of course, we start out with 10 health. And let me quickly look to make sure I'm doing this right, that I don't have to remove, with fewer players, any cards. Page 8. Doesn't look like I do, which hopefully is good for me. Hopefully that means there's more in there that I can deal with. So let's get started. Zolifer. So, move some of this up. Hopefully I can keep stuff visible from him. Drop a spark into the breach, and I have 2 that I can spend on a gem, plus an additional 3. So we're at 5. I'm going to do the crumbling compound. So this is one of the new ones that we added last time, where it's gain 2. And if you discard a gem in hand, do it and you gain another 2. So I can potentially get a whole lot of money that way. Over here, we have the supporting shot, as I named it. It will deal 1 damage, and if it deals it to a minion, we'll deal an additional 1. However, of course, I have to flip a card to determine who goes next, and it is the Nemesis. Attack. If you are playing with 1, 2, or 3 players, banish the top 4 cards. So it says banish section on the box, so that doesn't even go. And then draw a new card. Ambush. Unleash. So 2 damage. I can decide who that goes to. Aeon will take it. And then 2 damage to Gravehold. So we are still doing damage to Gravehold, which means I gotta watch how that's counting down as well. If this is chapter 4 or higher, evolve. It's not, goes away. Aeon. Alright, now we can get our scatter shot into play. I have 3 money. Well, I can I'm just going to put this here. It will have to fire off next time. And then I'm going to get the Ancient Cyanolith, which is just a gem that gives me 2. Drop that in. Good to go. Zolifer, I'm going to fire it off. We're going to start taking him down. 39 health. And I know precisely what his hand's going to be, because his starting deck is still the same. A Spark and 4 crystals. And you know what? I'm going to get the Neural Wreath. I did not get any Neural Wreath last time because, well, I didn't realize kind of how good it was. It allows me to focus a player's breach, and any player may prep a spell in hand. Hey, Fatal Paper Cut, welcome to the stream. You haven't missed much thus far, other than in me learning about how the evolve mechanic works for the Nemesis. And it works in a way that isn't helpful to me. Leviathan Egg. Persistence. Evolve. When you evolve this card, we read something. So if we don't kill it, we will read something to evolve it. But I am going to fire all of this off to do 3 damage. Getting us close to being ready to take that out. With a spell there, I have 4. I'm going to buy an Incinerating Fist to do some damage there. So, Fatal, I saw that, well, you found your copy of this. Are you planning on getting back to playing it, or just glad that you know which stack of games it's in now? Oof, Nemesis again. Gravehold suffers 2 damage. And then have to discard a spell. Let's do his Spark. Who do we got next? Well, that gets discarded. Zolifer. Of course we have Zolifer, who now has no spells, but has 1-2, discard that card, 3-4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but I would have to spend 4 to buy a crystal, which I'm doing to gain the Branching Radite, and still leaves me with 4 to get an Incinerating Fist. Drop that in. Draw my 5. Who's up next? Aeon. Fire off the spell. Another damage to that Leviathan Egg. I drop a card into play and have 5 purchase. And getting a Gravity Node. We're going big. Lots of attacks here. Come on, Aeon. Zolifer. So, I'm going to play the Neural Wreath and focus. This one. And any player can put a spell from hand. We prep a spell in hand. So I'm going to throw that one down. We'll have to go off, but that's fine. Can stick in a spark. I have 3 purchase. And do a breach flare to help me focus down my flares. Or focus my breaches, in particular the 3rd one. Come on, Aeon. Alright, Aeon. Fire the... Well, this has to go off. We'll hit Bladius for 1 with that. And that's 2 damage with my supporting shot to take out that egg before it can evolve. Because we know precisely that's a Nemesis card. Incinerating Fist in. 3 money. We're going to get another Ancient Sanalith. Just so that we have a little bit more purchase power. 4 damage. Oof. Really likes going after Gravehold with his attacks. And any player can discard a card. I'll discard that Spark. Yeah, I like that best. Oh, and that was from me flipping that one. Alright, Bladius. What do you have for me now? Hopefully nothing. Zolifer. Fire off the Spark. 37 damage. Or health left. Gotta get moving. 4 purchase power. You know what? I'm just gonna open this breach. Now that does mean Aeon is in position where an unleash happens. She will be the one hit, and she's already taken the first hit. But my hope is that I can get one of hers open fast here as well. Aeon. Alright. Fire that off. 3 more damage, down to 34. It's moving fairly quickly at this point. Gravity Node and a Spark. Well, I'm going to use the 4 to open up her breach to place that Spark. Let's see what we have next here. Nemesis. Oh, we're on to level 2 Nemesis cards. Lovely. So, Persistent is Unleash and Evolve. It's 10 health. Sweet. So, what do we got next? Zolifer. Fire that off. We're taking 3 hits right away to that guy. 7 more to go. That's 5 of it right there. The Breach Flare is out there, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 for discarding the crystal. 5, 6, 7. I can use it to buy another gem. I have to use these 2 to buy the gem. So that's 3 of it. And then 4, we're getting an Incinerating Fist. Put it on that order. One, 2, 3, 4. 5. Who do we have next? Nemesis. Unleash. 2 damage. Can beat to either of them. So we're doing it to Zollifer. Players collectively discard 3 cards. Oh, no worries about being late. You didn't miss much. Most of that was me reading the Evolve rules. Which I like as a mechanic. The fact that the creatures and the cards can evolve so that they become tougher. It's a fun little twist. Sorry Zollifer, I think you're actually discarding 3 cards, all of them money. For that, and the Caustic Larva also has an Unleash, so I guess to Aeon. And then Aeon. So, discard a card from her hand to do 5 damage. Prep 2 spells and 3 purchase power. You know what? I'm not going to actually focus that breach yet. Instead, I'm going to grab a... I'm going to grab Breach Flare to help with the focusing of breaches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One thing that is really nice about streaming this game is that because I have... you don't have to shuffle for this, besides what I'm doing here with the turn order cards. Makes it real easy for me to play this game. I'm not spending half the time shuffling, which I think is one of my favorite things about this deck building game, is that I don't have to shuffle. Aeon, perfect. 1, 2, but because it's dealing damage to a minion, that is 3, which is overkill. So I guess 1 damage to the boss and 2 to the Caustic Larva. The Incinerating Fist and 5 purchase, we're getting another Gravity Node. The fact that we're almost 25% done with the health is pretty good. Granted, that probably just jinxed everything, as of course we get a Nemesis card. Player with the lowest life suffers 1 damage, and had we not killed off the Caustic Larva, it would have gotten its first Evolve sticker. Nemesis. Voracious Corroders. Immediately read Evolve deck card E06. A massive breach opens and a swarm of metallic bugs surround you. You feel the power of a newly opened breach surge through you. Open Insight 3. And apply all stickers to the rulebook. Alright, so let's see what we got here. First, mid-game change. H. Some breaches have effects that occur when a spell is cast from that breach while it is open. So just adds to the breach information here. And then O. Q. So let's see. O. When a spell is cast, some breaches have +1 damage when cast. Effect while they were open. Any spell cast from an open breach with this effect deals 1 additional damage, even if the spell's effect would not deal damage. Cool. I did not know about that not deal damage step. Yeah, I am. So, Fatal Paper Cut said that Aeon's End Legacy is kind of like Jaws of the Line, where it teaches you the game well. It doesn't start you out with everything all at once. That almost lined up. That's pretty good for me. Wow, that's worse, but maybe better, all at the same time. So then it says open box A. Do not read any more cards in this deck until instructed to do so. Alright. I'm actually just going to leave that card in the deck so that it's ready for me. Set those breaches with the others. I wonder how well I could reset this to play with the other two. Or to take somebody else through it. Alright, but drops into play and just deals damage to Gravehold, which apparently is what everything does. Aeon, we're just blasting that straight away. I had too many cards there for 3 damage. No, I did not have too many cards there. That was my discard pile. I just had it flipped the wrong way. Repurchase. More money. Make sure I put that in the right order. Draw my 5. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. Zolifer. 2 damage. And I'm going to focus this breach, taking the monster up to 5. And of course I'm rolling with 2 cards here. A Spark. Oh, that's a cool idea, to level up the other 2 at the same time you do these 2, so you can kind of swap out your team if you're not playing the full 4 players. I'm going to focus that breach. Better believe I have a card I'm going to put there. Get fired off. Ooh, no. Let's do that, actually. And then it's going to be Zolifer again. That would make sense too, because I believe you can play with these characters again, or like in just normal play when it's all said and done. So that'll give you 4 different mages, all personalized to you to play with. Fire that off. Get another damage. And I actually have 5 to purchase because of that branching radite, which I realize is not on camera. That gets an additional 1 if I have 2 spells prepped, which I do. One thing I'd love... So I have a friend I really want to play this game with because he's very good at counting cards. So I think he'd be able to manipulate the his deck better than I would be able to. Every now and again, Fatal says that the secondary characters get a better choice of abilities. I say let them suffer. Build yourself some characters that are made for hard mode. Persistent, 2 damage to Gravehold. Seven money to discard. Unleash twice. Gravehold suffers 4 damage. And if Gravehold has 13 or more life, evolve. So if I don't get rid of that, that will evolve. That is one thing like I really love about legacy games is that they feel like they have progression, and the characters in almost all of the games feel like they're giving you some way to evolve and do something cool. The exception for that is kind of Seafall Legacy, or Seafall. There is no Seafall Legacy, it's only Legacy. And that one just... You never... Like, your characters got better, but you never felt like they got better in a useful way to really give you a direction or a power that you were planning on going. Aeon. Alright, let's see. We'll discard a spark to activate that. That's 4 damage. Overkill on him, but he's out of the way. Spark for 1 damage. Oh wait, he was at 6, so I can do 4 damage here. Getting it down to 29. And I can focus one of our breach 3s. Let's do Zolifers. So I don't hate Seafall. I will say that. I think it's fine. The issue is when you have Pandemic Legacy and stuff like that, fine isn't that good. And the bigger issue in some ways is that it's really bad for players with a lot of analysis paralysis. It's not a short game. So I was playing a 5-person game where 2 of us, I think, were enjoying it to some extent, and 2 players might have been enjoying it, but they had horrible analysis paralysis, which basically meant their turns in an already long game probably took a 2.5-hour game to almost 4. And that gets real tiring after a little bit. I guess 1 damage. I'm actually going to leave that one out there. And I have 5 money. Going to get the Crumbling Compound. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to deal with this. That is a concern. Zolifer. Zolifer will unleash everything for 4 damage, getting us down to 25 on Bladius. And I have here 1. Oh, nice. So Crumbling Compound for 2. Ancient Cyanolith for 2. Crystal for 1. That gets us to 5. If I discard my other crystal, I can get myself to 7 and take care of that tremor before, that would have wrecked had that been out there. And it still leaves me with a spell to put into play. Alright. Nemesis and Zolifer left. Zolifer. 3 damage for sure. 22 left on Bladius. Let's see what we have here. Breach Flare. And 5 that can be spent on gems. 2 that has to be spent on a gem. And 3 that I can spend on anything. For 5, I'm going to grab a Crumbling Compound because I think it's going to be useful to start discarding that one that gives me money for gems. 4 mages at once would be a lot. I've only ever played with 2 because when I watched Rolling Solo channel, he played with 2. And I was like, okay, that seems reasonable to do. I could maybe see playing with 3, but 4, that is a lot. Nemesis, shocking. Hate Hound, persistent. Gravehold suffers 3 damage. So I was thinking, based off of what Bladius does and dealing us 2 damage, that this would be one that deals us a lot of damage, but that is burning through Gravehold pretty fast. I'm going through this pretty fast because, well, one, if you want a slower version of everything, you can watch last time, but also the finale of Loki is already out, and I haven't seen it yet, and I really want to see it. So, Zolifer. Yeah, gotta do 2 damage to the Hate Hound. Yeah, I can really imagine that 4 would be nuts. So I can focus a breach. Then I do have a spell, might as well drop that in. And 4 purchase power gets me another Incinerating Fist. Alright, come on. Nemesis. 3 damage to Gravehold. Down to 17. Ouch. Power 2. Unleash twice. The player with the most expensive prep spell discards a spell card. Or discards that spell card. No way to get around that. See where we go from here. Zolifer. Well, if I discard a card, which I can, that's the necessary 5 damage to take out that Hate Hound. And then I can drop a couple more in. Discard this one for my crumbling compound. I can have 4 purchase power. We're buying that last incinerating fist. Right now, I wish I had a way to thin out my deck, actually. The accessory pack. Was that the... This one? Buried Secrets? Doesn't seem like it, but... Or was that something that came with the Kickstarter? Nemesis. Spend 8, otherwise Gravehold suffers 6. Ouch. Oh, okay, so that was the one that basically allowed you to have characters pre-built, so that you weren't having to rebuild the starting decks every single time. That makes sense. I kind of wish I had added that, assuming they had that with this last Aeon's End Legacy Kickstarter. That'd been nice to have. Ariane. I do not have 8. So, well, we're just going to unleash here. 3. Well, not fully. I'm not going to cast that. We're going to use this one, though. 4. Get us down to 18 here. Because I want to keep all 5 of my money to get an additional gravity node. Okay, a second accessory pack, or an expanded, probably a second one, because they wouldn't want people to be like, well, I already got 1 accessory pack, now I have to get one that has double everything I need. Ariane. Here we go. That is a hand. Well, I'm discarding a spark to do 4 damage. Down to 14 on Bladius. We're getting down on his deck. So that goes there. That goes there. There. 2 breach flares. All I had was spells. Oh yeah, I do remember seeing there was a reset pack, as Fatal Paper Cut points out, that you could use for this game. I could imagine, as long as it probably resets the cards that have evolved on them, and then yeah, Ariane. Phew. I was hoping that would be the case. Oh boy, how much can I do? Perfect. So discard 1 for this. I fire off, focusing everything here. So that is 9 points of damage. I'd imagine that accessory pack is probably just something that's available via Kickstarter, and maybe I don't know, this might be something like with Gen Con, where I'll swing by Indie Boards and Cards booth, not going this year, but I could see them having it around. So I'm going to discard another crystal because then I have a crumbling compound, which becomes 4 plus 2 twos, so I can deal with the flying guillotine, because that would have messed up Gravehold bad. Oh, okay, so it was available on Amazon. I know that I'm a little surprised, but it might have been through like a board game store, because I know some do pick up like extra Kickstarter stuff. Zolifer, can we be one short on our damage? Down to 1 health on Bladius. Get our Incinerating Fist into play. Scarred Rags to Riches for 4. The last Gravity Node plus a 3. We haven't actually gotten Fire Charm, so we're getting a Fire Charm and having 1 left over. Let's see who's going. Zolifer, 3 damage. Boom and game. Okay, so the Indie Boards and Cards website sends you to Amazon? I do remember looking at Stronghold's Games website and thinking they need to hire me because I do web design. Yes, we have the victory. So, let's read the back of this card. Record the result in the rulebook. I will do that, assuming I have a pen, which I do not right here, so let me check. That's a knife. And that's some super glue. This is mainly a collection of random stuff, but it does have a pen in it. So in all fairness, with myself and a pen, this bright green pen, even though you can easily see that there's still ink, there's a 95% chance this will not work for me. %95 chance this will not work for me. Okay, I have a pencil over here. Almost invisible. We're gonna need to get a pen. If you defeated Bladius, read the front of Chapter 2 conclusion on L16. Bladius drops to one knee, exhausted and wounded. It stares up at you, hate gleaming in its eyes. Equally exhausted, you step forward to finish the beast off, ensuring the safety of the survivors behind you. You have won the day, but it doesn't take long for reality to sink in. Bladius wasn't even a full-fledged nameless, and yet he matched you evenly. You need more training before your next fight. I will say I have 13 health. Yeah, gel ink is fancy, but definitely does not work to write on shiny paper. You train with Brahma When Mist returns from her patrol, I track the fleeing minions through the caves. Mist points to a craggy rocks overhead. They're above us, gathering on the surface. The world we thought was ruined. You will have to see it yourself. Oh, wait. So we're in an underground town. Good point. Let's not focus on the fact the Nameless have names. We're in an underground town, fighting off monsters. We think the surface is ruined. This vaguely reminds me of Gurren Lagann. Legend says the world above was destroyed. Yet as you follow Mist out of the cave, you see a green canopy before you, large trees, rushing streams, creatures fluttering in the air. You never imagined the surface would be so alive after spending your entire life underground in Gravehold. If you haven't opened box A, we did. Read the back of this card. There is much to do. Everyone has tasks to complete. Yours is to defend the camp. You spend time training with Mist, learning to channel your unique abilities. The coming days will be difficult. The power you possess will prove invaluable. Open Insight 4. Yeah. Of course, I accidentally got stuff out of order. Put a charge strip in the unlocks at end of 2A. I was wondering when we were going to get these guys. These are some of my favorite parts of the game. Is the character abilities. Because, like, okay, it's cool to have that single unique starting card, but to have more, that's cool. Or to have these things that can give you more. Ooh, man alive. There's some sweet abilities on here. I like the fact that they give you 8. Because that means you have plenty to consider. Gravehold gains 5 life. Each ally draws 2 cards, deals 7 damage to a minion. Any player gains 3 life. Gain 2 gems from any supply pile. Place one of those gems into any ally's hand. Cast any player's prepped spell without discarding it. It deals an additional damage. Cast all your prepped spells that cost 4 or less. Each of those spells deals an additional damage. Gain a spell from any supply pile. Place that spell into an ally's hand. Gain 2 gems. Aeon. It's going to get the casting a spell, so it deals an additional damage. I'm guessing it's chapter 5 because that's where the slot below it says. And Zolifer. Zolifer is going to keep us alive. Any player gains 3 life. I mean, we weren't super far down, but if somebody attacks us more, we have no way to gain life. Open box B. Hey! Tokens. I'm actually kind of glad it says on the boards, because especially if you can have two abilities of the same type, like with whatchamacallit, Risk Legacy, it had 4 slots, and I think it specified by color what type of ability could go there, and that worked. But since they're not doing that and just keeping this kind of neutral, I'm glad they specify. Otherwise it'd be like, well, I'll do the standard pandemic thing, place in the top and move on down. Those are our tokens for that. L8. Oh, I forgot to stick these guys on. Dang, there's a lot of rule stickers here. We have a Y. Which basically is adding sorting out stuff for the Nemesis. We have Q. The nice thing is, so gaining a charge. So basically it costs 2, if you're not familiar, to gain a charge, and once you have the whole thing full, you can fire off the ability. The reason I'm kind of going through that quickly is it's part of the base game. So, for me, it's not really a like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening. It's, okay, yep, that's what I expect. I've been waiting for that to happen, basically. Alright, we're about done with all these stickers. We just have F left to add. Save this sheet. That was lined up horribly. Reveal the rest of Stop II deck. These are your supply upgrades. Replace 2 supplies in the current supply pile with the same types, so there are 3 gems, blah blah blah. Banish Bladius and all its Nemesis cards. Set aside all the basic ones. Do not read the back of this card until the start of Chapter 3. So let's see. We have an Entangled Shard, which is like the Branching Radite, except for charges. If I have 3 or more charges, I gain an additional money. Starfire Frenzy. Deal 4 damage if you discard a spell in hand. You may discard a spell in hand. If you do, deal 1 additional damage and gain a charge. Force Transfusion, deal 3 damage. If you have 3 or more charges, gain a charge. And a Relic, gain a charge. An ally focuses their close breach with the lowest cost. Well, we're swapping that out for the Neural Wreath. It's gone away. I don't think we're going to do the Entangled Shard. We're going to do Starfire Frenzy, which means I'm dropping the... what is it? The Gravity Node. Yeah, upgrading the market is... I'm looking at that going like, well, okay, the Brain Knife, sure, I'll do that instead of the Neural Wreath. I've only bought one of those in 2 games. But the other ones, like the Entangled Shard, great. That's similar to my Branching Radite. It's probably telling me that I should be worried about shards and getting a lot of those. And the Force Transfusion, 3 damage. If you have 3 or more charges, gain a charge. Cool. But not what I wanted. Not with how I've been playing anyways. But that's it. That is game 2 of Aeon's End Legacy. I have another 5, maybe 6 to go. And I'm still very interested in what is going on. Spend some time here sorting this out, but thank you all for joining. There's links and whatnot below for the nerdologist.com website, which I run, as well as then 10-Minute Marvel Podcast, which I will be talking about the Loki finale next Tuesday on that. And then, obviously, this channel, where you can find us on social media with Twitter and Facebook, as well as Patreon as well, if you're interested in helping improve the quality of this channel, as well as the website and whatnot. That is one way you can help do that. But yeah, with that, thank you for watching. Click subscribe, that notification bell if you aren't, and I'll see you probably in 2 weeks, because I have family in town next week, so doubt I'll get the Wednesday stream in, but